All right, good evening. Thank you for joining us. We understand from the news that is coming in that the NDA have now chosen Mr. Narendra Modi as their leader of their alliance, and that letter is now going to the President of India, which means that Narendra Modi will have his third term as the Prime Minister, this time leading a minority government with the BJP as the largest party, but short of the halfway mark. That's the question we're asking. Effectively, is this going to be the same kind of government we've experienced over the last two terms? Is it likely to be different? What is it that Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu would have negotiated for? And what's going to play out going forward? Now, to help me answer those questions, my guests are joining me right now. There's Aditya Menon of Quint who joins us, Mr. Javed Ansari, who is a senior journalist, been very kind to give us his time through the course of this entire election that's been quite tricky to decipher. We also have Ishwar, who is a journalist with the Quint, who has been traveling quite extensively. I also wonder if he's picked up any rumbling from the ground as to what those negotiations are and what's going on. And Mr. Manishandan joins us as well, someone who's tracking the BJP quite quickly. So I'm going to do a round of questions for each of you to tell me what inside information you have that we don't know in public domain yet. Mr. Manish Anand, I feel like you are the guy to ask. What do you know that we don't know?
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been elected the leader of the NDA, and they are going to President Draupadi Murmu to stake the claims, and the kind of speculation mills which had been buzzing around for the whole day would take a bit of rest by the night, and Modi 3.0 will take place. And how does it pan out in the next 1 month or so? Will have to be seen. We have to remember that N. Chandrababu Naidu was part of the NDA government when Modi became the Prime Minister for the first time, but after a year he had exited the NDA, and the relations between the BJP and the TDP hadn't been great. There were a lot of heartburns on the part of Chandrababu Naidu. Nitish Kumar, we know that he is the most unpredictable of the politicians. He is the Bihar's maverick politician, and his short-term agenda is to stay in power in Bihar as a chief minister. But you never know. Nitish Kumar, most suitable as the prime minister, was the word of his most dependable friend, late Sushil Kumar Modi, who is no more with us. But what Nitish Kumar would do, nobody can predict. It is very hazardous to predict the move of Nitish Kumar, but he was very much pampered in the NDA meeting today. But OP Rajbhar, the NDA ally, who was very much pampered by the BJP before the elections, was not invited for the NDA meeting, and he had been going hammer and tongue against Narendra Modi and Yogi Adityanath in UP as well. While within the BJP, he is being accused for doing the damages for the BJP in Uttar Pradesh. So there is nothing that you haven't heard about. There is not big secrets which are playing out as of now. But Sharad Pawar, we have to watch out because I heard from somewhere that there is a talk of third front, which could also take place in the near future. So that is the air in Delhi is full of possibilities. So we have to wait.
What could possibly be in the third front? There's no one left.
So that is just a kind of a kite flying that is taking place in Delhi. That possibly if NDA has to weaken, because the number with NDA is not so great. So and Modi and Shah regime doesn't have great experience of running a coalition government. In 2019, if you remember, the NDA government was just about a few of the allies in the ministry, in the Council of Ministers. So the kind of treatment that they had meted out to the allies in 2019 may have been refreshed by the allies now that the BJP is on a sticky wicket. So the numbers are not in their favor, and Amit Shah's image is well known to the allies. So we have to wait and watch.
So this is the photograph that's come out today that I'm sharing on the screen right now. So this, the Prime Minister standing out with his bright green jacket there. He normally tends to stand out in a group photograph. Everybody else, their wardrobes seem to have been color coded. But you can see here, just taking you through from the far left to the front row is H.D. Kumaraswamy. So that's the JDU. From what I understand from some reports, JDU actually believes that it has contributed close to 10 seats to the BJP by transferring the voters in the constituencies that it was not running in. There's Mr. Amit Shah, Mr. Rajnath Singh, Mr. JP Nadda, the Prime Minister, Chandrababu Naidu standing right next to the Prime Minister, and then Nitish Kumar, Eknath Shinde, who has 5 seats in his own right, and Praful Patel, I'm assuming, standing in for Ajit Pawar. This is, Aditya, I'm going to come to you with this question. Anything you've picked up about those negotiations and what ministries are likely to have been asked for? Because we understand that both Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu are very clear about the kind of ministries they're going to ask for. Apparently, Kumaraswamy wanted to ask for agriculture.
I think one key demand from both Telugu Desam party, more so Telugu Desam than Janata Dal United, will be the position of Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Because the Telugu Desam has been affected badly by the BJP's poaching tendencies in the past. We saw the entire Rajya Sabha contingent of the TDP defect to the BJP. So one is of course BJP doing Operation Kamal on the opposition, but then there's a possibility of them doing it to their own allies as well. So the speaker's position is probably the security that Chandrababu Naidu might want. There is a precedent to it which he can cite. GMC Balyogi was the speaker when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the prime minister. In the first NDA government, the Telugu Desam did have a speaker. In the earlier NDA government, not the first, Manoj Joshi was another speaker as well. So there is a precedent of Mr. Balayogi being the speaker. So Telugu Desam can cite that. Janata Dal United, I think, is focused more on Bihar, a special package for Bihar, and key ministries that will help them deliver some tangible benefits for Bihar. So I think this is the focus area for both these parties.
So actually, this is the question I want to take to Mr. Javed Ansari. Mr. Ansari, the BJP has in the past displayed a tendency to break its allies from the inside. So there is an alliance formed, and the guys with their fingers really burnt are the Uddhav Thackeray Shiv Sena, for example, in Maharashtra, where there is an alliance, and the BJP poaches, members from within their alliance by breaking its own alliance partner. Is this something Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu are going to be cautious of while entering into this deal?
Certainly. Augmenting their numbers through acquisitions and mergers is a standard operating procedure of the BJP, or has been a standard operating procedure of the BJP in the past. So Nitish Kumar and both Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar may be opportunists, but they're not foolish. And they'll be that's one reason. Aditya is right. That's one reason why while Chandrababu wants the speakership of the House. Ideally, Nitish Kumar would be interested in the same, but he already has a deputy chairman from his party in the Rajya Sabha, so you can't have both in both houses of parliament. You can't have a JDU person sitting in the chair. But they will look for special for lucrative ministries, and they will look for. They both want their states to be given special status and delivered special packages. That's going to be a sore issue, because these are not just these two states are not the ones which are economic. There are others who need economic assistance, and it's going to be tough. Right now, there'll be a honeymoon period. For optics' sake, they will tell us when they come out that it was actually Mr. Chandrababu Naidu who proposed his name, and Mr. Nitish Kumar who led the chorus, who amongst the seconders. So the contradictions will start surfacing down the line, 6 months from now. Right now, there'll be a honeymoon period. There'll be a tussle over governors. There'll be a tussle. What is if the BJP wants to implement CEA? What will Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu Naidu do? What will be Chandrababu Naidu's position on the question of Muslim reservation? Because even during the elections, he said there should be a 5% reservation for Muslims. Nitish Kumar is
Also, caste
also
census, Mr. Ansari.
caste census is Nitish Kumar's brainchild, which Rahul Gandhi has now adopted. So what's going to happen? It will be very interesting to note. This will be the first time since 2002 that when Mr. Modi assumed office as chief minister, that he'll be running a minority government. Earlier, he was used to running a majority government. His 2 terms as prime minister was also he was running a majority government. Governing through consensus doesn't come naturally to him. This time he will be dependent more than ever before on the touches of these two allies and other smaller parties. So we'll have to see whether he has it in him to bring about this change in personality and in approach. It's easier said than done. You can do it for 6 months, you can do it for a year, but down the line these contradictions will come to the. So I don't expect any turbulence for now. For now, it will be smooth takeoff, but whether there is a smooth landing, we'll have to wait and see.
So the prime minister, for the first time, having to run a minority government. Ishwar, what are you picking up right now about? And what I found interesting was Buzz on Twitter says that he might be a swearing in this Saturday. Is that true?
In fact, they have declared a time and date for it, 8th of June, 8 o'clock. A lot of people are saying that it's his lucky number, so that is what they're going to go with. But yes, even yesterday, when we heard the Prime Minister speak after the election victory at the BJP headquarters, we saw, like Mr. Ansari very rightfully said, that there will be a lot of optics. There will be a lot of show of strength that, oh, we have returned for the third time, the historic, mandate. But yes, that is precisely why this declaration of date has come, which is flashing across all news channels today, 8th of June, 8 p.m., 8th of June, 8 p.m. While negotiations and talks still seem to be underway.
So, this is, Mr. Ansari, I was just going to bring this back to you because compared to last time, where the Prime Minister took his time to set up the, it was a big event, the swearing in. There were Bollywood stars that were called. It was like a very, very large thing. This time, it seems more hurried. Also, the BJP is fairly keen from, the voices that we've heard to sort of paint this as a victory and not as a failure electorally in any way.
So the beauty of this mandate is that the victor feels defeated and the loser feels victorious. And I'm very intrigued by this hurry. It's very significant. Why is Mr. Modi in such a hurry to be sworn in? Is it that he has information or he fears that the longer it continues, there could be other voices from within, some challengers from within the BJP? If reports of the RSS and the BJP and Mr. Modi not being on the same wavelength are true, then there is a fear that maybe RSS might prop up somebody else. So before that happens, the standard operating procedure for such things is that the parliamentary party meets of this elects a leader, then the alliance partners meet and they elect the leader, and then you go to the president claiming. Much before that, the Election Commission has to go to the President of India and notify him or her formally that their process of elections is over and this is the list of victorious candidates in 543 seats. Then starts these parliamentary party meetings after they've elected. I haven't heard, I don't know, maybe Aditya might know better or Manish, if the parliamentary party meetings have taken place and they've elected. All this is a formality for the moment, but this is a process that needs to be gone through. But why this unseeming hurry? What is this hurry for? Is it out of fear, or is it because that he wants to get on with the business of governing? That can be. If you noticed his body language yesterday at yesterday's meeting, it was not victorious. There were no rhetorical flourishes, and he teared up. Twice he teared up. For somebody who glares at the camera, he was looking left and right. He was looking away from the camera. So obviously there are a lot of things that are working on his mind, some real, others cooked up, which seems to be preying on his mind. And that's why he's hurrying this up. He's rushing through.
Yeah. I'll ask Aditya to pick up on that, but also Aditya, now one more question. This morning, we understand from reports that Mr. Narendra Modi, incumbent Prime Minister, now we'll call him Mr. Narendra Modi until he's sworn in, had a meeting with his cabinet. Now, this I find interesting because the cabinet no longer exists, right? He had apparently, and this is from Times Now, had a meeting with his cabinet in which he assured them that this is a victory and not a failure, and they're going to continue with their good work. And Times Now, of course, like its typical style, went on to talk about how it had an inside story on the fact that the Prime Minister's body language was really strong. And they're doing, I've now started seeing these mainstream sort of corporate TV channels as just mouthpieces for the BJP. They're trying to paint this as a victory, that nothing has changed. We're going to have the same kind of prime minister. We're going to have him with the same kind of, sort of energy. What can you tell us about that?
I think the brief has gone to channels to sort of because it was out of script. Everyone had sort of prepared very glowing pieces on PM Modi, glowing packages on PM Modi, that it has been a wave and how Modi did this and all. But the results came as a surprise because it was a bubble created by these exit polls. So yesterday, even in channels that are otherwise considered pro-government, there were discussions that were going completely. I mean, they were sort of insinuating that this is actually a political defeat. And in one channel, we even saw the head of that channel suddenly appear in that studio and sort of try and steer the debate through how this is a. I would not mention that. There is a vote for continuity, and this is
Aditya, SMS me the name. I'll stick my neck out and name them.
Yeah. So it is quite clear, and again, these kind of selective spins coming out of the meeting, that the body language is strong and that the cabinet is meeting as if it's a done deal and the government has started its job already. This is everything is a spin. They basically, I think, don't want any of the rivals within the party or outside the alliance to even try to come up with an alternative arrangement. I think the fear of what happened in Maharashtra in 2019, in which suddenly the power just slipped out of their hands because of the delay and last minute maneuvering by Sharad Pawar. They don't want something like that to happen. So they don't want anyone to get the time to sort of make those kind of moves.
Mr. Anand, what are you picking up from inside of BJP? Someone's asking if the media channels are likely to become bold again. I don't think the lack of bravery was ever a problem in their case. It was what suits them financially, really. But what kind of, Manishan, what version of Narendra Modi are we likely to see in this term when he has to take all his allies along? And all of them, people, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Javed Sahab has.
Ishwar, before you sent Faye, bravery ended when a certain friend of mine left mainline television.
Javed Sahab has already given us the hints. The fact is that Modi had set out with a 370 target that he spoke about on the floor of Parliament, and he gave a target of 400 up ki baar 400 par. So it's a big defeat on both the slogans, and the BJP people are blaming both the slogans for the defeat. In fact, it was not Amit Shah who gave a quantifiable target. It was not JP Nadda who gave the target. It was Prime Minister Narendra Modi who gave the two targets. So it's definitely a big defeat for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And the people in Uttar Pradesh have given a decisive mandate against Modi. That has to be stressed out because in Varanasi parliamentary constituency, the victory margin of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is very, very less. It is not comparable to brand Modi that was being projected by the mainstream media, particularly the television channels, the kind of interviews that he gave, 80 interviews in a short span of time that I don't remember in my memory any prime minister would have ever given. 160 interviews by Amit Shah. So tremendous amount of narrative being said by the mainstream media, and don't blame just the television channels. Even the mainstream newspapers played along. So I don't find any exception, barring if I name the Week was not given the interview,
Sorry.
given the interview, and the Hindu was not given the interview by the Prime Minister.
And
But
the
all
Telegraph.
the
And the
yeah,
Telegraph.
of course, the Telegraph is an untouchable entity for the dispensation. That Javed Saab knows the reason well. Well, Javed Saab has said the hurry. So the hurry is because self-doubt has now crept in the Modi and Shah regime. So this self-doubt will bring in a lot of insecurities, because within the party circle, Amit Shah is now taking the biggest hit, because it was he who had picked up the candidates in Uttar Pradesh. The supporters of Yogi Adityanath are coming out a little bit in open with video posts on Twitter and social media platforms, blaming that it was Amit Shah who shook hands with OP Rajbar, despite opposition by the party leaders in Uttar Pradesh. And it was Amit Shah and Prime Minister Narendra Modi who chose all the candidates in Uttar Pradesh. And by giving a blanket slogan of Modi ka parivar, Modi ki guarantee, everything about Modi. So brand Modi was on the front. So the BJP went to the people with brand Modi. So brand Modi has to take a hit. And since Prime Minister Narendra Modi's electoral appeal is in the firing line, so this hurry, which is very visible, is well understood, because self-doubt is there. There is a fear that if you give time span, if you give a more timeline, then the things may go out of hand. And we understand that within the RSS, it is very much well argued, written about. Even Ram Madhav tried to write an article in the Indian Express trying to say that no, things are okay with the BJP and the RSS, but he ended up adding more confusion, and he did not clarify. And on the
Manish,
ground,
are you telling me, sorry, are you telling me right now that you believe that all is not well with the Prime Minister's end of the BJP and the RSS, and getting all allies together to agree to his prime ministership is actually not fully stable, and that's why there may be a hurry to swear in?
Of course, that is what I wish to say, that there must be a good amount of insecurity on the part of the top echelons of the BJP right now. And top echelons, we understand only Modi and Shah, because other than that, if you look at the BJP national office bearers, then there is nobody like Arun Jaitley or Pramod Mahajan or any big people who may have independent line of thinking. So whatever the BJP national office bearers you see, or the BJP parliamentary board you see, they're all hand-picked appointees of Mr. Amit Shah and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So we don't expect any kind of rumblings from the current national office bearers of the BJP. But if the time lingers on, then you may find some discordant voices coming out from outside the periphery. So we have to watch out from Maharashtra, from Rajasthan, from some other states, what the BJP leaders say. Because 11 seats the BJP has lost in Rajasthan. That's a huge number. Why did the BJP lose such a big number of Lok Sabha seats? And why did the BJP not lose in Madhya Pradesh? They won all the 29 Lok Sabha seats. That was despite the fact that the manner in which Shivraj Singh Chauhan was treated, despite getting the state back into the BJP's kitty in the assembly elections. So we have to watch out. The kind of regional aspirations within the BJP may play out. They may give some time spent to the current dispensation, but in the next few months, we may hear some discordant voices.
I know of a certain lady sitting in Dholpur who must be very happy at the results.
Are you talking about Vasundhara Raje?
Your guess is very... You named her, I didn't.
Send it to me on a WhatsApp message. I will read it out.
You're much smarter than me. You didn't need a WhatsApp message.
Okay, so I want to share some more photographs. There's also a parallel meeting that has taken place in and I was sort of holding off calling them the opposition, but I guess the India bloc is the opposition. Different body language there in that bloc. We'll share some of those photographs. Akhilesh Yadav, of course, big win for him. And you can see as we flip further, this is from Times Now, from the Times Now Twitter handle. There's the meeting that they're having. Omar Abdullah, I can see Sanjay Singh of the Aam Aadmi Party, Stalin, Akhilesh Yadav, very relaxed. What do you think they're discussing here on a very different functioning of Parliament, or do you think that they're still perhaps assuming that there is chances to form government? Mr. Ansari, go ahead.
Have you noticed the chemistry between Rahul and Akhilesh? They were together. They fought the UP elections together, and I covered that extensively, almost on a day-to-day basis. I traveled with them in the Rath. They were very stiff. The chemistry was hardly there. This time they seemed as if, born again twins, as twins who were separated at birth and who seem to be formed. They've formed a very strong bond. I guess they must have gone through the numbers and done a realistic check. They probably realize that they need to allow the NDA combination time, allow the contradictions to come to the fore. There is no point in staking a claim, but they will now be a very formidable, a very vigorous opposition, both inside Parliament and outside Parliament. This business of riding rat fraud, throwing out 140 MPs, suspending 140 MPs, it's not going to be very easy. I don't know what is the fate that has befallen the former Lok Sabha Speaker, but the fact is that this is going to be a very different Parliament, and this will test the political management and the political machinations. I underline political machinations of the BJP's.
Also, Stalin, who has had a big win in Tamil Nadu as well. There behind them, I can see Supriya Sule. Here's a question though for the panel. Whoever wants to answer it. What is this cabinet likely to look like? I mean, two people have gotten knocked out. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, Smriti Irani have not won their elections. And it's unlikely BJP will make room for them either. There are a lot of allies who will need to be accommodated. How many of the previous cabinet members are we likely to see repeated? We saw Mr. Rajnath Singh in the photograph, but of the rest of them, does anybody want to guess? Aditya?
I mean, only two people know, Mr. Modi and Amit Shah. We can speculate. I would definitely put my money on Lalan Singh being there, being the most, the senior most JDU member of Parliament. But barring that, I really can't hazard a guess. Maybe Lalan Singh might just be our next railway minister. At most, I can take the risk of that prediction. But beyond that, I would really not be able to say.
I was in the forecourt of the Rashtrapati Bhavan when 2019 swearing in took place, and we saw S. Jaishankar, coming and taking the chair, and Sushma Swaraj sitting on the front row of the audience VIP seats. So Modi will surprise with his cabinet choice. That is his trademark. There would be a few new professionals who may not be the Lok Sabha MPs, and the elder faces that you see in the cabinet, they may be out. He would definitely bring in a lot of new faces. That is his trademark style.
Okay. So now I'm going to put you on the spot, Manish. Nitin Gadkari?
If he drops Nitin Gadkari, then that would be a great headline, big headline for the media, and I don't see the possibility of that happening, because at this point of time, when there is so much of insecurity within the top brass of the BJP, they would not like to make new enemies. They would not like to, pick up new confrontations. So Gadkari within the government would be more comfortable for Modi and Shah regime than Gadkari being outside the government. That would be more bigger threat than him being in part of the government. And we have to, and they also have, they also admit that the development agenda of the Modi government that they trumpet and they talk about is fairly attributed to Gadkari's ministry of the road and transport. So you cannot, how would you explain keeping him out of the government? So there would not be any justification. And age-wise, age is on his side. He's not that old to kick him out of the cabinet. So there would be no justification. So you would be picking up an enemy unnecessarily.
Also, you would
Ishwar,
be upsetting Nagpur.
sorry, go ahead. Say that again.
Yes.
Also, you'd be upsetting Nagpur if you do not include Mr. Gadkari in any way, because of this impeccable track record and performance, and not losing the Nagpur seat for so many years and still keeping the victory on phenomenal margin always. I don't think Mr. Shah and Modi would like to take that risk at all.
Definitely,
I
Gadkari
think
is eyes and ears of the RSS, and that relations between the BJP and the RSS, so that's very deep rooted. Not 1 or 2% can cut it off. RSS indeed plays a bigger role in the political affairs of the BJP, and Nitin Gadkari is the big link between RSS and the BJP, and I doubt he would stay, I suppose.
So can we assume that the Prime Minister...
I'd be very surprised. The Prime Minister's elbow room for maneuver has been severely constricted and restricted this time. So these experiments of bringing in outsiders at a time when he doesn't have a majority, he is no longer in the position to bring in outsiders and then ensure their election. So it will be a big risk, I think. And plus, the allies will now demand a better ministerial sharing formula than the one that the BJP had in the previous 2 avatars.
See, for example, the position of Finance Minister, which is a very carefully chosen position for Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, the position of External Affairs Minister, again a ministry that the Prime Minister is particularly invested in running. So it's not exactly a ministry that's sort of given a free hand. Will these choices get affected by what the allies want? And are allies going to sort of say that we want these slots, or can we expect the top 3-4 faces to remain the same? Anyone who wants to answer?
Faye, I expected that you should have talked about Home Ministry. Why aren't you talking about Home Ministry?
I suppose there's some nervousness left over from the previous.
Because the kind of mandate that Prime Minister Modi has now, and the manner in which AD and CBI have behaved in the last 10 years, and now that Kingmaker is N. Chandrababu Naidu. So I believe that in place of staking claims on ministries, they would be keeping their eyes on the Home Ministry. And their choices, if not their men getting in that position, but they may dictate the choice of the Home Ministry, a Home Minister that Modi will have in his 3rd term. So that is the most important ministry in the 3rd Modi 3.0. Finance Minister, you know that it is well known that budget is prepared in the PMO. In fact, for that matter, all the bigger policy things are done in the PMO, and others are just faces. As Jaishankar enjoys a bit of autonomy in his sphere, other than that, PMO has been very powerful in the 2 terms, and there will not be big changes in that style of functioning. So Sitharaman, probably the manner in which she came out and said that she hadn't the money to contest the Lok Sabha elections would not have gone well in the BJP, and probably she may have to pay a cost for making that statement publicly, because that gave a lot of blushes to the BJP, because that meant that other people who are contesting the elections had big money, and she was the only person who was without the money. So I apprehend that she is on the way out, and there could be a new finance minister in place. Rajnath Singh, definitely there would be a big question on his position, but the kind of mandate that Modi 3.0 has, he will again not risk to pick up new enemies, given the political situation in Uttar Pradesh now, where Yogi Adityanath and his relations with the top brass of the BJP are panning out. Sir, Javed sir.
I think one person who will certainly make an entry into the central cabinet is Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan. He's won with the 2nd highest margin, 8 lakh votes. That's almost 3/4 of the number of votes that Mr. Modi got in Varanasi.
I wish to just add just a few more things.
Yes.
This Modi 3.0, you may see representation in bigger number.
3.0 or 0.0?
Now from Odisha, because the BJP has won big, and from southern states like Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana, because these are the areas where the BJP would be seeing the future, and there could be a lesser representation from Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan.
Dharmendra Pradhan will now shift. He's probably the next chief minister of Odisha. So that
Yes, it's a position he's actually been eyeing for
he's
several
coveted
terms.
for a very long time. Yes.
Yeah. So
Mr. Khattar as well, right? Mr. Khattar as well, with a margin of like some 7.3 lakh votes. He too will make it to the central cabinet, definitely.
Eshwar, when Prime Minister Modi took oath in the second term, then there was a strong buzz within the BJP that he wanted all the big BJP CMs to come to the center. So he wanted Shivraj in the cabinet, he wanted Vasundhara in the cabinet, he wanted Raman Singh in the cabinet, but they all rejected those persuasions. But now these people are not in a position to say no. So Shivraj has delivered a big mandate in Madhya Pradesh, so he's a natural choice, and age is on his side. Vasundhara, definitely she will not come. Raman Singh is already a speaker in Chhattisgarh. So Shivraj and Khattar, you have rightly said, because there was a buzz a week before he resigned. Actually, somebody close to the dispensation had said that Khattar is up for promotion, and when I inquired that being a chief minister, what kind of promotion you are looking for, then he said, what about CCS, the Cabinet Committee on Security? So maybe the top 4 posts that Javed Saab is talking about, one post may go to Khattar.
I do want to ask you all about Devendra Fadnavis, if I may. So Devendra Fadnavis today has made a statement saying that he wants to quit as Deputy Chief Minister of the state of Maharashtra, offering to resign. A certain level of gracefulness there, which we must accept.
I don't know whether it's gracefulness or that he's seeing the writing on the wall.
He's also, he said he's taking full responsibility. I should read out portions of his statement where he said basically that, but our vote share has only come down by 1.7%. But it must be pointed out that the BJP this time, in comparison to last time, contested a far greater number of seats in Maharashtra.
Yeah.
And the Congress, in comparison, contested a smaller number of fewer seats because they were sharing with their allies. So the BJP's performance in Maharashtra has been quite abysmal. I want to understand what you all think of Devendra Fadnavis' statement. And is he basically having to gear up now for state elections, or is he being shunted out?
I think, Faye, it's more like a... Sorry, please go ahead.
No, please, after you.
I think it's more of an optic for now, because the defeat of the NDA in Maharashtra, particularly the BJP, is very, very embarrassing to say the least. And as you rightly said, Faith, there was taking of some responsibility and just slightly going a little back on the optics part. We saw the Prime Minister addressing the nation yesterday with a very, very diminished number of seats that compared to the previous 2 terms. There was no mention or taking any responsibility or even saying that, we will try to introspect why we did not go char so far as we had promised. Even Mr. Yogi Adityanath in the previous UP state elections, when he had given a specific figure and they couldn't meet it, even he said that, we did lose some seats and we will try to introspect as to what went wrong there. But that is the difference between the 2 statements that have come from from the Prime Minister yesterday and from Mr. Fadnavis today. And offering to resign is also coming as a, previously his wings, as they call it, the wings had been clipped by the central leadership. Now the wings have been clipped by the voters. So it's definitely an abysmal performance. The Congress, in fact, has managed to get back certain seats that it had lost to the NDA in 2014. Not just that, Mr. Fadnavis' strategy of handling the Marathas and completely sidelining the Maratha ire and trying to project Mr. Manoj Jarange as this person who is out to get the government, etc., clearly hasn't worked, because if you look at the numbers, the NDA has been wiped out of Marathwada and Vidarbha regions. It's a loss of 24 seats for the NDA in Maharashtra. The NDA in Maharashtra looked different with the United Shiv Sena at that time. But if you go to the ground, there was a deliberate, calculated call from the Maratha community to not vote for anybody who's a part of the NDA. So that loss was not accounted for. it was clearly all about the optics that we are strong, we are united, etc. Now, if you are offering to resign, what choice do you have coming for, when you talk about the upcoming assembly elections in the state? Because the message for the Mahavikas Aghadi and India Bloc is clear. You have to be united and you will benefit. Uddhav Thackeray has benefited and Mr. Sharad Pawar's party has largely benefited from the alliance. But can the same be said for the alliances that were forged by Mr. Fadnavis? Mr. Fadnavis has been credited to breaking two biggest regional parties, but did that yield any fruits of any kind? Because if this number would have come in the state election, that would have still been a different issue of discussion. But when you're contesting the election in the name of the prime minister, but votes are still polled according to what the issues on the ground are, and the biggest issue was that you broke two parties, that you broke two biggest parties. Did the vote transfer happen? It clearly did not. Did Mr. Eknath Shinde's party manage to transfer its votes to the BJP? Did Sharad Pawar's NCP manage to transfer its votes to the BJP? It clearly did not. So your strategy with handling Maratha protesters failed. Your strategy with breaking parties and trying to make them your allies failed. You have failed on multiple levels as the person who wanted to, be seen as this supreme leader of Maharashtra. So definitely it might be optics, it may not be optics. We never know how political minds work. But yes, a resignation offer has come from him, and I'm not sure if his allies have even been consulted for that. Like, for example, Mr. Ajit Pawar today is missing from the NDA meeting. I don't see a particular reason why he should not be there. And at the same time, a narrative was being built that Mr. Uddhav Thackeray is not present at the India meeting either. But a lot of news channels completely ignored the fact that Mr. Thackeray yesterday itself in the press conference said that I am not going to be present for tomorrow's meeting. Mr. Sanjay Raut is going to be present on my behalf because I want to meet my leaders who won elections first. So yes, I mean, optics are clearly at play, and it depends as to how the central negotiations will work, because whatever is going to happen to the central berths that the Shiv Sena and the NCP were promised by the BJP when the breakaway factions joined hands with them.
Mr. Ansari, you wanted to say something? Go ahead.
Yes, I think this is a preemptive move on the part of Mr. Devendra Fadnavis. And like Mr. Narendra Modi, Mr. Fadnavis's bubble has also been pricked. He's been exposed for what he is. He appears to have more supporters in certain media houses than supporters on the streets in Maharashtra. And now he's been exposed. The real Mr. Fadnavis has now been exposed. And there is more trouble in the offing. If these trends hold, when the assembly elections happen, and they can't keep postponing it like they've done for the municipal corporation elections, then the chickens will really come home to roost. And then by then you never know. You may see a bigger, stronger Congress party, because Mr. Sharad Pawar has hinted more than once that he would like to see the NCP and other like-minded parties to join the parent party, that's the Congress party. So for Mr. Fadnavis, you can enjoy the patronage, his strategy of forcing mergers, of acquiring people and using the washing machine to dry clean people. Well, all that has come unstuck.
In fact, for Devendra Fadnavis, the journey has been very bumpy, right? He went from chief minister to deputy chief minister to now joint deputy chief minister, having to accommodate Ajit Pawar as well, to now facing this defeat. So from where he was in his first term as chief minister, it's really been a sort of difficult, downward journey for him. And you're right, he's not looking at a very strong state election as well. And that brings me to the question of Eknath Shinde standing very confidently in that India Alliance photograph, but with his 5 seats and facing a state election, what is likely to be Eknath Shinde's future, Aditya?
Eknath Shinde, to be fair, he has had pretty decent strike rate in the election. He's delivered seats. Of course, one seat was an extremely narrow margin, but a win is a win. The second thing is because the BJP, the Marathas have proven that they can really cause serious harm to the BJP. And Mr. Shinde is a Maratha, so the BJP now cannot undermine Mr. Shinde in any way. But the real dilemma is for the BJP as they go, as the elections approach. They are barely 4 months from now. who is their CM candidate in Maharashtra? Is it Devendra Fadnavis? And if it is Devendra Fadnavis, he's already been discredited because of these number of political failures that have taken place. If it is not Fadnavis, then is it Mr. Shinde, who's not even from the BJP? And then who within the BJP is their CM face? Because under Mr. Fadnavis, they have tried to play politics. I mean, they have to try to appease the Marathas on one side, but also mobilize the OBCs on the other side. How will they balance between these two competing forces in Maharashtra? I think it's a very, very tricky slope ahead for the BJP. And Mr. Shinde is probably going to take advantage of the BJP's dilemma that they cannot upset him at least from now till October.
But going by the BJP's track record, Aditya, how much does a CM face even matter? Because we've seen what has happened in Rajasthan and what has happened in Madhya Pradesh. They won handsomely on the, especially in Madhya Pradesh, they won because of the popularity of Mr. Chauhan. But now you see what has happened. So,
They
they're not
can't do.
sure what
They
BJP is
failed
going to
to be.
handle.
They failed to be even the single largest party in Maharashtra contesting on Mr. Modi's name. So in Vidhan Sabha, then it will be
Yes,
over.
imagine a situation when Mr. Modi is not on the ticket.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Also, last
just to
question
add,
about Mayawati. Sorry, Mayawati had put out a statement last night, effectively also suggesting that because the Muslims did not vote for her party, they actually did not do well. Any responses on that statement? And what is the future of her party now?
She's in deep trouble because the unthinkable has happened. Her voters, while she was leaning on the side of the BJP, the ground has slipped from under her feet, and the fear is that it may have slipped permanently if she doesn't backtrack and goes back to where she actually belongs, because for the first time SC/STs have voted alongside Yadavs, and this was something unthinkable in UP's politics. Even when Mayawati and Akhilesh Yadav had a formal alliance, they couldn't affect this transfer of seats. Her party, the Yadavs, transferred their vote. She didn't transfer a vote. That's why they won 10 seats and the Yadavs only won 5 seats. This time around, because out of fear of this constitution being amended and being done, reservations being done away with, a lot of her voters have shifted to the Samajwadi Party, to the India Alliance, to the Congress Party and the Samajwadi Party, and therefore her main raison d'etre is under threat. She doesn't look at the pathetic position she's in. She doesn't have an MP in Parliament. She doesn't have an MLA in Uttar Pradesh. She doesn't have a leg to stand off as we speak. So a mere statement will not do. She'll have to do some. She needs to do some really serious rethinking.
Also, last question. Since the India bloc had offered Nitish Kumar Deputy Prime Minister, which he's obviously turned down to be in NDA, how come he's not asked?
For now.
Never say never. Do you think he would have asked for Deputy Prime Minister within the NDA as well, or would that not have been on the table for him?
Look, first of all, I'm not so sure if India Alliance had formal negotiations or somebody was authorized to offer them to because even if Nitish Kumar comes, they will still be short. They need both Nitish Kumar and Chandrababu to come with all their MPs for them to be able to get to the 272 plus mark. So therefore, I'm not so sure if this really happened. And any changes, the chessboard will move not now. Give it a 6 months period. Only then will the moves start happening. When they don't get special status, when financial grants are not coming, when finance ministry doesn't happen, when the question of Muslim quota comes up, when the question of implementing CA comes up, because Mr. Modi realizes that he's playing a T20 match, he needs to hit sixes out of the park, so he'll try and do something desperate. And there's a contradiction in the vote banks of JDU, TDP on one side, and Mr. Modi on the other. And therefore, he needs to do a very fine balancing act, which is not going to be easy.
Uniform Civil Code out of the question now?
But I'd like to think so.
All right. We've almost run out of time. Anyone with any other statements, go ahead. Any other observations? Yes, Ishwar.
Just two very interesting points, one for India Alliance and one for the NDA, because the meetings are underway right now and what is happening. And just to pick up on the mood that is there, first of all, a lot of talk is happening. Oh, will this person switch to the India Alliance? Will that party switch to the India Alliance? Let's just consider hypothetically that happens. How is the government going to look like? More than how the government is going to look like, how interesting would BJP be as an opposition with about 230 to 40 to 50 seats in the parliament, and how will that alliance with so many parties in India bloc, we've seen how they function before the elections, we know how they function with each other despite all the show of unity, etc. That would be an interesting scenario. But coming to the realistic scenario right now, which looks like Mr. Modi is going to take oath as the Prime Minister again. For the NDA, it is going to be interesting to see, now that the BJP has been diminished to this extent, how are they going to accommodate its allies, which they are totally dependent on? Because even if there's a person like Mr. Eknath Shinde who's managed to get only 5 to 6 out of the 14 seats that he's contested, they really need an Eknath Shinde. So he is definitely going to get his way out and get at least one central berth. At least that is the news we are picking up from the sources, that he has demanded for one central berth and at least 3 MOS berths. Similar demands are going to come from all other parties. So how much will, like 2019, the BJP will find its way out of it? As to, okay, fine, we are not going to accommodate these many demands because we don't really need you, but we are qualifying alliance dharma. That is not the same anymore.
Now they don't have an elbow room. They need every MP possible. They're no longer in the driving seat.
Absolutely.
And I'd be very surprised if the India Alliance stakes a claim, because they don't have the numbers, and running an inherently stable. I'm willing to stick my neck out and say, whether Mr. Modi forms the government or India Alliance forms the government, no, this government will not last the full term of this Lok Sabha.
Manish sir wanted to say that.
If I remember, Nitish Kumar makes his move largely on the eve of a big election. So Bihar Assembly election is due next year. Probably just ahead of the Bihar Assembly elections, he may make a move, and by any chance, he wants to remain the chief minister of the state. He knows that becoming a prime minister is not a feasible possibility for him. But definitely the kind of actions that take place in the national capital in the next 72 hours would be very interesting to watch out. But the BJP has a lot of problems to count, not only in Maharashtra, which you have talked in detail, but also in Haryana and Jharkhand, where assembly elections are due in the next 4 to 5 months, because the Lok Sabha verdict in both the states are against the BJP in Jharkhand. And the way Kalpana Soren, we have to compliment the way she led the opposition in Jharkhand. Hemant Soren in the jail, and the kind of consolidation of the tribal vote base that took place under the leadership of Kalpana Soren is remarkable. So that credit has to go to her also. And the BJP's choices of the chief minister after the recent assembly elections, the verdict is against them in Rajasthan and Haryana both.
Aditya, you wanted to say something? Go ahead.
No.
Faye, can I take your leave? I have to go to another channel.
Yes. Sorry, we're done. We're wrapping up.
Thank you very much, everybody. Please excuse me.
Always a pleasure, simply. Aditya, I'll give you the last word on where I personally feel that it's unlikely that the India bloc might stake claim, because they're very far away from the numbers that they need, and that would be a superbly unstable government. But I think also what would be different this time is every time the third term Modi government tries to pass something in parliament, issuing a whip and just passing something through like they're used to doing for the last 2 terms is not going to be that easy. Actually, they will have to bring every single alliance partner on board. Each of those people will have to issue separate whips to their respective MPs. And then if the opposition comes and allows them, will they be able to pass something through parliament? This is going to be very different from what we're used to seeing from this, or what this government is used to in terms of functioning.
Absolutely. And if Telugu Desam gets its way and gets the speaker's position, then BJP won't be able to sort of bulldoze its way through parliament the way they had been doing with a brute majority and a speaker of their choice.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, even if the speaker doesn't say anything, the both JDU and Telugu Desam are ideologically allies who are not entirely in line with BJP's thinking on at least the core issues. So it won't be easy to convince them. And even if they convince them, the opposition is very strong and they can put
Do you
up a.
expect a lot of things to be repealed or re-looked at least?
Sorry?
Do you expect some of the bills that have been passed in the last term to be re-looked at least, if not repealed?
Unlikely, because I think the pending bills, none of them are very controversial. So that may not happen. But some of the future bills, I think that might be a problem for them. Also, opposition will have some very very strong speakers in their ranks this time, and not to mention even independents like Chandrasekhar Azad are also now in parliament.
Yeah, Chandrasekhar Azad, who was basically told not to return to Delhi the last time, now returns as a member of parliament. Akhilesh Yadav will be in parliament. Lots of very interesting parliamentarians have come in at this point. We've run out of time. I want to thank my panelists for making time this evening. It continues to be a fascinating point for all of us, this election, and we're going to continue to track it here. Leave us your questions. If there's something you want us to examine, to break down for you, we'd be happy to do it. Leave me a comment in the comment section. Remember, you can catch all of the good work that Quint is doing by looking at the Quint website and their YouTube page. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.